So it's the opposition view once again on the We Are West Ham podcast. And you know me, after the 5 years or so that you've been listening to me and James, either on the radio or on the podcast, when COVID hit and destroyed our live radio show, we've been doing the opposition view. And every week, pretty much, I kick off the section with delighted to say, joining us on the We Are West Ham podcast. And, you know, I try and sort of give the impression that I like all of our opposition view guests equally, but over a long period of time, you do develop a favourite or two, I must admit. And anyone who's been listening long term to the We Are West Ham podcast will know that today's guest ahead of this weekend's game in the Premier League against Aston Villa is one of my all-time favourites. It's Tim Warwood, of course, BBC Journo, huge Villa fan, genuinely nice bloke. And Tim, it's great to have you on the show again. And
pleasure as always, mate.
Other than being a wonderful bloke, which you are, I think the reason you're my favourite is because of all our opposition guests, I've met the most members of your family. I think last time you come on, your two little kids come and got involved. We had a little chat. We've had your uncles on before. We know the whole Warwood clan. It's absolutely wonderful.
Mate, family affair, isn't it? I think that's football, isn't it? Family affair. And it's. I remember, obviously, a couple of years ago when we were down in the Championship and the wife's kind of, you know, money's tight for everybody. And Lucy's a bit like, why do you keep going with your season? You know, why are you still spending to go and watch them lose? And I don't buy my season ticket to go and watch the Villa. I buy it because I get to sit with my cousins and my uncle and have a chin wag on a Saturday, have a cup of Bovril and just enjoy it. And it's, family game, isn't it, mate? So, glad you're part of the family now. You're part of the family.
Oh, pretty much. I feel like it, mate. Yeah, absolutely that. But, look, I mean, it's absolutely great having you on again. And, I mean, what a time to be an Aston Villa fan. I'll obviously get a little bit more detail off of you in a minute. But having a little bit of a look, obviously, through Villa's stats before you come on and knowing what you did last season, just sort of admiring from afar, I'll let you tell me about what a genius and a god Unai Emery is in a minute. But it sort of feels like, to be honest, Tim, you're sort of doing what we did under David Moyes a couple of seasons ago in the Conference League this year, 7th last season. You know, I've been speaking to you for a few years now. There's been some bleak times for you as well as there's been some good ones. And it's just quite lovely to see Villa doing well from afar.
Oh, mate, thanks. I think, like West Ham, we've got that kind of feeling for everybody else in the league, for the, you know, the neutrals, so to speak, that you actually don't mind. You don't mind it when you see the West Hams and the Evertons and the Villas doing well compared to the other so-called Big Six. It's kind of you kind of enjoy it, don't you, as a neutral, to see the other teams doing well and doing well in Europe. We've had a bit of a stuttering start, obviously, to our European campaign, but it's you know, it feels nice to be doing it. And yeah, I think you're right when you say that. We are kind of mirroring what you did, aren't we, a couple of years ago?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like impressive form in the season. I think 7th that's where we finished the first year, where we did well to get into Europe, into the Europa League, of course. And then obviously performed well in those competitions since. Have you got the same level? I can only imagine you have the same level of huge excitement for the competition. Obviously, you're in the Conference League, which we obviously won last season. Iconic, amazing. We're back in the Europa League this year, which is really exciting. And the snobbery between the two hasn't quite kicked in for me yet. I'm just enjoying us playing in Europe. But were you delighted and are you thrilled to see it come along? Have you been to all the games?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I missed the first one I was working away, unfortunately. I was up in Glasgow, but got my tickets for the next 2 games at home, and it's really exciting. I've never seen Villa in Europe, you know, at Villa Park. So under the lights there in a couple of Thursdays' time, whenever it might be, I'm really excited. And it's, you know, to have your WhatsApp groups. We've all got our football WhatsApp groups, and for it to be alive and with John McGinn scoring the way he did, you know, it's just been so amazing. It's been a brilliant kind of, dare I say it, almost, you know, there's a real nice script to it, isn't it? You know, you go into Europe, you're winning these games in dramatic fashion, albeit losing one as well. But, you know, it's you're playing well and performing well, and it's what you want. You don't want to go into these leagues and go into these European competitions and just get hammered every week, because that would just be depressing enough. But yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been a brilliant start to the season, stuttering start to the season for us. But man, we're all just enjoying the ride. We're all enjoying the ride.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a flash in the pan either. I mean, you obviously mentioned the Europe there. You lost away to Legia Warsaw 3-2 in your first game. And to be honest, you were not lucky is the wrong word, but you left it late to beat Mostar, the Croatian team, I think, at home.
Yeah.
In the second game, you still find yourself bottom of the group, obviously on goal difference, and every chance, because everyone's on the same points in your group, that you'll still make it through. But I mean, it seems really the record since Emery came in. I think it was only Man City in that season, only Man City, correct me if I'm wrong, who got more points than Villa did in the period after Emery come in up to the end of the season, because obviously you were struggling before that.
I think it is.
He's done such a good job.
Yeah, like in the calendar year 2023, we are second in the league on points behind. We're also, I think we're in the top 4 for goals conceded as well. So we're not. We've really tightened up at the back, which is amazing considering we lost Mings, and we've got Konsa now. Just seems to have taken that step up, and defensively, I mean, you win games by not conceding goals, don't you? Which is what we seem to be quite good at. And again, I think I spoke about it a couple of years ago that when we concede, it used to be at Villa Park, heads down, like, oh bloody hell, and this, that, it starts ringing from the back of the whole end, shouting about how rubbish we are. But now it's, you concede a goal and you're going to score. So it doesn't matter. And as it proved with John McGinn, in Europe, into the 93rd, we're also, believe it, check this out, we're into the top. I think we're in the top 2 teams for minutes added on at the end of games. So if you play the Villa, you're going to get a healthy 12 or 13 minutes of added on time, which is, again, not good for the nails. But again, as a Villa fan, that we're going to score. We're going to get a goal, and especially when Ollie Watkins is on the pitch, you're going to get a goal at some point.
Yeah, I mean, again, sort of him and he's in the England squad again. Jared Bowen getting another chance at the weekend. They didn't exactly set the world on fire against Australia, the pair of them, did they? Ollie got his goal, of course. Nicked it off another one of your old boys, Grealish, definitely claiming that it wasn't going in, wasn't he, against the Aussies? But I mean, Unai Emery, it's one of those things, right? It's tempting to say, oh, he's doing a real refurbishment of his reputation, but I think it's completely unfair and a little bit blinkered to say that, because the only bad job he's ever really done was the poison chalice that he took at Arsenal. He's a phenomenon in European competitions on the continent with Sevilla and Villarreal. He's come over to Aston Villa, and I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time you had a team that felt this good was maybe when you had like Young and Darren Bent and Stuart Downing up front. Bonhor,
exactly, the Martin O'Neill days, dare I say it? That brilliant attacking football that you knew goals would come in. You knew we were going to play well. You knew it was good football, and just that confidence. It's just such a huge thing, isn't it? Confidence in football. That you can see them. They come out, chests are puffed up, the whole end's behind them, and it's you're going to get these results. And I think I think I said to you as well in the last podcast is that I don't know too much about football management. I don't try and pretend like I do. I've actually pitched an idea to BBC Sport for me to interview Unai Emery in the whole in my seat that I sit in, because I think it would be quite a nice little feature. But they haven't gone for it yet. They're like, whatever, Tim, just stick to snowboarding. But because I'm really interested to know, dare I say it, how he's done it. He's taken almost essentially the same group of players, but with he's so meticulous, isn't he? He's so in his preparation and also in, breaking everything down and looking at everything and the stats and where games are won and lost. And I think that he's just got that. It's just that next level of management. You can be out there being mates with all the players, and that will only get you so far. But you need that next step up. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And, when you talk
that
about
was going to be my question.
Europe, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my question about how he's done it. But I guess you've sort of answered the question there. He's a man of detail. And did he, at first, when he came in, obviously off the back of Steven Gerrard, which just seemed like it was never worked out in the end, obviously. I can't really remember chatting to you at the time. Was there a lot of excitement around Emery? I assume now he's been taken to the fans' hearts and he can't do a thing wrong in Villa fans' hearts.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they'd carry him wherever he wanted to go for sure. There wasn't a huge fanfare. I think it might have been a little bit of the unknown for a few people, but certainly in our WhatsApp groups, everyone was, in our Villa boys and girls WhatsApp group we've got, the excitement was very much like, oh, here we go, a proper manager with some proper pedigree. And it shows, doesn't it? It does show. You've got to say, okay, like you say, did amazing at Sevilla, did brilliant at Villarreal, and here he's coming to take it over pretty much the same team. He's obviously added a few now, but we've got the bones of the team still the same, and yet he's managed to get them playing in such a way, changing the style as well with that 3-5-2 and having. Matty Cash and Luca Dean flying up and down the wings has been really good for us as well. That seems to be working. And
Matty Cash, a revelation, isn't he?
Oh my God, yeah, he's been brilliant as well. And in fact, pre-season they tried him kind of a bit more advanced, almost on the right wing, a bit high, which is actually I think where he played for Forest when he came to us. Was that for Forest? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, well,
and he so he can play that way, and he got 2 goals pre-season from that role. I think it was 2 goals or 3 goals, and so just basically running into the box and banging them in. So I don't think he's afraid to try different tactics and try different things, and I think that's been his just rewards really.
Yeah, no, fair play. And like I say, I think it's one of those teams you just like some teams, don't you? And I've just always liked Aston Villa. I don't know whether it's because the first game I ever went to that I remember, my first ever game was Everton at home, and I could barely remember any of that. But my first game that I remember sort of a bit more vivid images was Villa at home in your LDV Vans kit, Mark Draper, when he had bleached blonde hair in about 1998, I think that probably was, 97, something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Just goal then as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Ugo Egiog, I think, was still floating about at the back.
My mom delivered his baby, Ugo Egiog's
really?
Baby. Yeah.
What an amazing link. So it's really good to see you doing well. And this is a question I ask most opposition fans, Tim, when they come on. Sometimes it's a silly question, and it's rendered so today, given how well you're playing. But I like to ask what the feeling is among the Villa fans. We've obviously been privileged to hear a few things and a few insights from your Villa WhatsApp chat before. Uncle Ron, big fans' favourite of the We Are West Ham podcast. And now he gets stuck in. I think he come on before. Did he come on before live, or have we just?
Well, it's funny. It's funny because I told Uncle Ron that I was coming on again today, and he's sent you a little message actually. So can I play it in for you?
Of course, mate.
Here we go. This is Uncle Ron.
Hello, all you lovely Hammers fans. Hope you're all looking forward to next Sunday. Unfortunately, I'll be missing the game as I'm away on a family do. I know, you can't stand the pressure, you're thinking. Well, actually, I'm away with the brother-in-law, John, who is also a Hammers fan. So there's obviously be a bit of jovial ribbing between us, no doubt. Any road up the back. I reckon it'll be a very closely contested game. We're playing really well at the moment, and I saw West Ham's last European game, and they looked a tidy outfit too. So, a draw, do you think? I do. Good luck, all you guys, and may the best team win. Oh, and a word of advice. Keep them bubbles away from your eyes. They can half sting.
What a man, Uncle Ron, absolute icon of the We Are West Ham podcast, more so than any of the West Ham guests that we ever had on, I think. How's he getting on, Uncle Ron? He seems in fine fettle.
Mate, he is always. He loves the just turning out and having a bovril more than anybody else really at the Villa. He's and like I think I said to you on one of the first times I was on, it's because of him that I support the Villa. You know, he dragged us all down. My mum and dad weren't into their football at all, so it was up to my Uncle Ron to drag us down. But so yeah, obviously, no, he's doing well. He's gone for a draw. But I also got another message in from my Uncle John. Now this is my mum's. Not my mum's. Uncle Ron is my mum's brother. This is my Uncle John, who's my mum's sister's husband. And he's one of you lot. So here you go. This is from Uncle John for you.
Hi, Will. Hi, James. It's John Murray here, Tim Warwood's favourite uncle and lifelong West Ham supporter.
Well, I don't know if he's my favourite, but no, only joking, Uncle John, only joking.
Based in Walsall in the West Midlands. I'm really looking forward to the game on Sunday, especially as we've had some great results at Villa Park in recent years. I'm sure you don't need reminding that last year we won 1-0. And the year before that, it was 4-1 to West Ham. I had great difficulty in keeping in my seat in the Doug Ellis stand that year. And prior to that, of course, it was 3-1 to the Hammers. However, I think I would be a foolish optimist to predict a fourth win on the trot for the Hammers. Two reasons, really. I think this Villa team now is completely different to those that we've come up against in previous years, especially because of Unai Emery. It is a completely different and a far, far better team than we faced in the past. Also, as you know, we still struggle to sign a really good top-class clinical striker. However, we do have, as we've seen so far this season, we've got a number of players that can find the back of the net. We've had some great results. So, it's fingers crossed for Sunday, and come on, you Irons.
Oh, he didn't.
Sensational.
Uncle John. He's good, isn't he? I thought he could be
amazing.
I thought he could be a pundit there with that. That's,
yeah, he might take my job, to be fair. I hope you don't launch a West Ham podcast.
But, for the Midlands fans.
Exactly, yeah. How is it then that someone with such a broad Midlands accent like Uncle John there finds himself a lifelong Hammer?
I think he was told to support the team in claret and blue, and he picked the wrong one.
Got the wrong one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, do you know what? I've never asked him. I'll ask him on Sunday.
And does any of the males in your family, Tim, have first names with more than one syllable that don't end in M or N?
Uncle John, Uncle Mark,
Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle
Uncle Ron.
Yeah. No, look, absolutely amazing, Tim. We love we love hearing from the wider Warwood clan. But I mean, to talk about the season so far before we look ahead to the game, you beat Brighton 6-1. You're still fifth in the league in the Premier League. Does it feel? As I see it from afar, does it feel a little bit more like it's not going anywhere? Do you know, whenever West Ham have been good in the past, you always feel, oh, this is a bit of a flash in the pan. All of a sudden, under David Moyes, you're like, no, this is properly built up from the bottom. Like it feels sustainable. It doesn't feel like we're just going to collapse back to being a shambles at any minute now. Does it feel like that at Villa?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've hit the nail absolutely on the head. Like I said, it used to be, you know, a goal would go in, heads would go down, and now a goal goes in and you're like, that's all right. We're just going to score more than them. You know, the Harry Redknapp approach to football is we're just going to score more than you. So it's absolutely fine. And I think you're right. It's definitely, the tide has changed and it's pure optimism now. And you're thinking to yourself, yeah, Conference League this year, Champions League next year, Premier League champions year after, you know. And I know my cousin Paul, he, again, Villa fan, he's
one syllable name,
naturally. He's constantly texting the group, we're going to win the league. Now, I think I might be a bit optimistic this year, but he's so convinced he's going to see it in the next couple of years. And you're right, there's a real optimism there. And when your best players are re-signing contracts, I know contracts don't really mean anything, do they, in football nowadays, but Ollie Watkins just re-signed for 5 years. I know Arsenal was sniffing around him, and he's scoring for England on the world stage. It's you've got. I know he's injured again, but Tyrone Mings again, a brilliant player. Eric Conser, our centre backs I feel are amazing. You've got John McGinn, captain of the Scotland team, playing brilliantly. We've got internationals. We've got a World Cup winning goalkeeper in Emi Martinez. And I don't think we've mentioned him, but mate, he's winning us games with some of the saves. He's every week. So it's in fact in the Brighton game, he 0-0. He saved. Wasn't Danny? I don't know. I think it might have been Danny Welbeck. Can't remember. But anyway, Brighton clean through on goal, and he made. Well, it was a match-winning save because that would have been 1-0 to them. Who knows what would have happened from there on in? But so we've got just brilliant international players all over the pitch that are signing these longer contracts to stay at the club, and it gives you that optimism. It gives you that belief and that kind of, we're in it for the long road. We're in it for the long haul. So, definite optimism for the future. And you're right. I believe we're staying, there or thereabouts now.
Yeah, exactly. That's there's a bit of, as there sometimes is, a bit of sort of meltdown among West Ham fans last season because we struggled a bit in the Prem. Then we won a European trophy. Declan Rice goes, and again, I don't want to keep drawing similarities between our two clubs, but you obviously sold Jack Grealish a couple of years ago, 100 million quid. I know, and most of that money you seem to spend well. We've sold Declan Rice. And all of a sudden, the whole we are better this year than as a team. It just seems more balanced. Moisey's playing exactly as he wants again, rather than having to sort of bow down to what the superstar wants to do a bit. Well, you've used the money really well so far. And do you think that at Villa you're sort of reaping the benefits still of that Grealish money? Because we've just signed Jared Bowen up to a long deal, which we freed up some money, which we're able to do that from Declan, signed some good players. And exactly what you said, a few seasons ago, before Moisey come in, Jared Bowen would have gone. He would have just gone. Liverpool would have snapped him up or whoever. But he signed a 7-year deal and said, I like the project here. And look, even if Liverpool do come sniffing in 2 years, then they'll have to pay 85 million quid for him. And then you sort of build and you go again. And probably the same with Villa, I guess. Watkins signed a long-term deal. Even if he doesn't stay for the rest of his career, you know that if he's going to go, it's because someone's coughed up a load of cash and you can spread that out through the squad again.
Absolutely. Completely agree, yeah. And yeah, you're right. You get that cash and then it gets spent by the right guy who knows what he's doing, spending it on the right players in the right places. In order to, you're not getting some guy that's a bit like, oh, let's just buy someone else that's well expensive, or do you know what I mean? It gets spent wisely and properly, developing talent, and it's just we've got we feel strong in every area as well. That's it. That maybe we could do with another striker, but you look and you see our squad and the strength and the depth and the bench is amazing. That you just think, yeah, this is good. I like the project, exactly like you say. And actually, you listen to a lot of the players when they're interviewed and read the interviews, and they're all signed up for the project. They're all really like what Unai's doing at the Villa, and they want to be a part of it.
Absolutely, Mo. Look, it's great stuff. Look, I've kept you on this brisk winter morning already. I don't know about you, but down here in London, it switched from height of summer 30 degrees to deadly winter in literally 24 hours. Like, I went to sleep the night before all sweaty and in shorts, woke up the next day and needed my skiing gear on again. So,
well, you texted me this morning. You've had to enact the big coat protocol today, haven't you?
Exactly, mate. Yeah. I only live in a little flat, and the storage unit down the road where I had all my winter stuff was absolutely urgently needed yesterday. I had to walk home from work in the icy wind in the freezing cold. But look, I've been great chatting to you again, Tim, as it always is.
Pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure.
The game on Sunday, West Ham, Aston Villa at Villa Park, 4:30. How do you see it going? What sort of team are you going to play? And how do you see the style of the game playing out? Give us a score prediction, then we'll wave goodbye.
Well, I'm praying. I've got my fingers crossed that Ollie doesn't get injured on international duty. But he's finally firing. You know, he's come to form. He's not, well, I was going to say he's not scored many in the league, but he scored 7, hasn't he, in his last 4 or something, 2 hat-tricks.
Yeah, so, it's quite a few.
He's banging them in. So I'm actually going to go for a Villa win. I think I'm quite fancy, aren't I? I'm not like to sit on the fence, but we hit the ground running. Hopefully the international break hasn't done us too much damage because, like I say, off the back of that Brighton win was a big old win. So let's hope we can keep the motivation and the momentum, I should say. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going. And I'm going to go for a Villa win. I'm going to go for 2-0.
2-0 to Villa, blimey. Not giving West Ham any credit there at all. Yeah, you know what, Tim? I think West Ham of this season have just like we've sort of got the results we should get. You know, when at the beginning of the season fans always do that. I mean, other than we've done that. And then +2, we've also beaten Chelsea at home and beaten Brighton for the first time in 13 years. Brilliant. So we're sort of ahead of the trend line. So because of that, I sort of think if we get a point away at Villa Park when you're playing, so well, I'd be absolutely delighted. So I'm gonna fence it a little bit and say 1-1. But Uncle Ron is at a family do this weekend. Are you at that family do, or are you going to the game?
No, it's all the oldies, all the golden oldies. They've gone over to my Auntie Pauline's. My mom, just to contextualise, I've got so many aunties and uncles. My mom's one of 7. My dad's one of 3, so there's hundreds of them. But they're all, it's my mom's sister's birthday in Frankfurt, of all places, in Germany.
Oh, so, lovely.
Yeah, they'll all be over there watching, for sure.
Does she live there, or was that a chosen holiday destination?
No, she does. She lives in Frankfurt. Yeah. Villa fan in Frankfurt, mate. They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere.
I went to Frankfurt last the Europa League season for the semi-final, and I don't know if I'd choose to go there on holiday, to be quite honest. But,
absolutely.
Fair play. Listen, Tim, it's been absolutely great having you on the podcast again. Thanks so much for your time, as always, and the time of Uncle Ron and Uncle John. I feel like next time it'll have to be Uncle Paul. We've seen the kids. One day we'll get your wife on, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We'll all, for sure.
We'll do a We Are West Ham podcast live, but it'll just be like in the Midlands around one of your family's houses.
Let's do it. 100%. Let's do it.
Exactly. Listen, Tim Warwood there talking to the We Are West Ham podcast once again ahead of Sunday's game in the Premier League. West Ham v Aston Villa. Villa Park, 4:30 on Sunday. I'm crossing everything for a draw. Tim fancies an Aston Villa win.